We're the Flowers. My name's Ryan, and this is Tracy. And yeah, we had our little daughter Adelaide on the 22nd of May, 2020 at Vincent Pallotti Hospital. And I think, Trace, do you want to tell us a little more about our story?
So I think we decided pretty early on that we would get a doula. And I think for me, it had been a bit of a journey. So with my background as a doctor, I'd always imagined I would want a Caesar. And as soon as I felt pregnant, that all changed. And I suddenly shifted completely to the other side of the camp and wanted this all natural birth. And throughout my pregnancy, it was really a journey of getting towards that birth and this birth that I really deeply wanted. And I also realized that the medical world and field was not going to prepare me for the birth that I wanted. And that's what led me to finding Charlene and wanting a doula, because it wasn't just this sort of medical event, but this event that I wanted to prepare for from a physical perspective, but an emotional and spiritual perspective as well. And that's really what Charlene was sort of, that's what her whole thing is about. And that's really what the course is about as well, is preparing on all these different levels for your birth. And we ended up having such a beautiful birth. I look back on it and I loved it. I loved everything about it. And there's no doubt that the course and the preparation really made it such a wonderful event for us. Obviously, you're meeting your child, which is amazing anyway. But I think that the preparation helped us go into the birth, both of us, really confident and calm and peaceful, despite doing all of this as well during COVID. So just to share a bit about our birth story, it was 2 days after our due date. We'd actually just sort of finished the nursery, cleaned the house the day before, and the next day I went into labor. And we had really gone through all the tools from the Relax into Birth course, and I'd been doing the meditations or visualization tracks from quite early on. I think it was probably from 30 weeks onwards, listening to them every night. And I had a bit of like a nighttime routine where I would go and spend 15-20 minutes before bed listening to the tracks, really relaxing. And it really helped me get into such a positive space. And a big thing was just normalizing normal, natural birth, and helping me understand that that's what I was made to do. So by the time labor kicked off, which it did pretty strongly at 3 a.m, things got going, and I was so excited, which was so wonderful, rather than being fearful. And went into labor. Things looked like they were all going according to plan, and was having regular contractions. And then by 7 o'clock, when we were basically ready to leave to go to the hospital, things stopped completely. And we really didn't know what was going on. But we stayed at home and relaxed, and we did Ryan did massages for me. I got foot rubs, and we listened to music, and went through some of the phrases that I had sort of prepared for Ryan to say, which was part of what we put together during the course. We listened to music, and it was really actually quite a relaxing time. And at one point I phoned Charlene because I didn't know what was going on, and she suggested, to have a bath, and got in the bath. And that was such a great suggestion, because I think I was quite frustrated that things had been going so well, and now they'd sort of stopped, and they were on and off, and ended up having like a bath and then another bath. And things started getting going again. And yeah, we just really were able to just really enjoy that time and relax. And we debated quite a lot, because at that time the plan was Charlene could come over and help us labor at home. Should we need her before we go to the hospital? And we both really felt like we were coping. It was quite chilled, relaxed. We had it all nice and dark, had music playing. Ryan was reading scripture to me, and it was such a wonderful time that we said, you know, actually, Charlene, I think we're good for now. Things were so intermittent though that I ended up chatting to my gynae, who said, come in for a check at 4 o'clock. Let's just see where things are at. And throughout this, I was using a lot of the techniques that we learned in the course about breathing, relaxation, visualization, and that really helped me a lot. When we got to the hospital, I was anticipating being like 2 centimeters dilated. I really was. And when they checked, I was 5 centimeters, and I was so excited. And up until that point, I'd just been using breathing to sort of get through the contractions. Felt like it was completely manageable. And then something that I absolutely loved was when we got to the hospital, we set up our room with fairy lights and bunting, and we had music playing, and even the little music player that we had lit up the whole room in this like pink color. And it was just such a like surreal experience, having it so beautiful. And yeah, it was just really magical. And yeah, I ended up getting through most of the births quite easily, or the labor rather, and spent a lot of time in the bath. Ryan did a lot of the massage techniques that we learned in the course, and was saying a lot of the phrases that we'd gone through. And I think it was at about 8 centimeters that I ended up deciding to get an epidural. I just wasn't enjoying the process as much anymore, and it was totally the right decision for us. And a few hours later, it was like 2.5 hours later, Adelaide was born, and it was again such a wonderful birth. And little Adelaide's head popped out, opened her eyes and looked at us. And yeah, that was sort of it. And it was such a joyful moment. I didn't actually cry. I just burst into laughter. It was so joyful. And yeah, I think the birth that we ended up having would definitely have been a completely different experience if we had done the course and met Charlene and sort of walked that road, because it really did help prepare us a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, from my side as a very inexperienced dad to be, the course gave me a sense of confidence, I think, and a sort of element of preparedness that I wouldn't have got anywhere else, I don't think. Initially, Charlene was going to be our doula, so I first had to wrap my head around the fact that there was going to be someone else there. And as a man, you kind of think that that's your role and want to take that on fully, but actually don't have any idea what that means. And then once I kind of got comfortable with that, we then kind of realized that Charlene wasn't actually able to be there because of the whole COVID lockdown. So I quickly had to reassess and kind of get up to speed with everything that I needed to know. And I think that's where the online course I found extremely handy. I think the one thing that stands out probably more than anything else is the ability for us to kind of get on the same page. Trace was feeling a whole lot of things that maybe she couldn't actually properly express, both physically and emotionally. And I think the course kind of gave us that tool to be able to both sit together with each other and interact with the content from a almost like impersonal point of view, so that I could understand her emotions without feeling like she was maybe being a little bit too emotional or dramatic or anything like that. And I also could actually learn some practical stuff as well. I found the partner tracks really handy. That was cool to be able to kind of, in my own quiet space, listen to those tracks and kind of prepare myself for the birth and what was to come. And it was also nice to have that course handy, almost as a resource, you know, to be able to go back and say, okay, I've kind of forgotten what we said about that, or how does the uterus work? And you can kind of go back to that spot in the course quite easily. I really enjoyed the setup of it. So yeah, that was awesome. I think from a practical point of view, I did. Sorry, this is our little dog, so that everyone knows. From a practical point of view, I found that the massage techniques really, really helpful, and probably the most important thing for me was just knowing what to say and what not to say. It might seem super obvious, but at the same time, having those sort of phrases, those key phrases that work well, certainly helped me and helped me relax a little bit in the whole situation. And I think speaking to other dads that haven't done a doula course, I can see that their mindsets are quite different, you know, to what I've been able to kind of be exposed to. And I would certainly recommend it, regardless of how macho you feel or how connected you might feel to your wife. I think it's certainly added value to me, and I know that I'll be going back to that for future kids when we get there.
Yeah, I think something that even our gynae commented on when, like, as Adelaide was being born and Ryan was watching this, it's something I never anticipated wanting Ryan to see, and suddenly in the moment I was like, go for it, like, just watch the whole process. And he was just so calm, and he's a very calm guy, but I think a lot of dads might sort of be like, whoa, what's going on? But I think that the course really helped him to be able to be so calm and just enjoy the process, not really stress about anything. For me, my favorite tool was the tracks, for sure. And then I know it's not like part of the course specifically, but the EpiNo, which I know is touched on in the course, that was a huge tool for me, just to help mentally prepare myself, but also physically prepare myself. And it's something I would highly recommend to every mom. I think just in terms of sort of final things to say, it was just a really cool course and experience for us to team together on, and I felt like we were together in this. It was very much, you know, we did the course together and we went through everything, and it really helped me feel like it wasn't just me doing this alone. And obviously having Charlene there and able, you know, for me to contact was also so great. And I know that she wasn't physically there, but I definitely had some of her words running through my mind during the process. And yeah, it was a really, really helpful course, and I would highly recommend it to every mom and expecting couple. Yeah,
I think that the other thing that was a standout for me was to be able to see Trace kind of grow in confidence over the kind of period of the course. There's obviously all those doubts and fears and anxiety that come with preparing to have a kid. And it was awesome to be able to see Trace like daily doing the tracks, daily doing the exercises and the EpiNo too. It was almost like she had she would go through these sort of stages, and as we got closer and closer to birth, her confidence was continually growing, which was awesome to see. And it was almost like she had like breakthroughs in terms of the exercises and the epinose and the tracks and all that. It was like we were getting little wins along the way, so that by the time we got to being at the hospital, there was that sort of confidence that this is natural. We don't have to be scared, and we can certainly kind of relax a little bit about this.
Yeah, I think just to say that to everyone out there, you actually can enjoy your birth. It's not something I thought that was possible, but it really is something that you can enjoy, and it's something that you can enjoy with your partner, with your husband. Thank you so much to Charlene for helping us get there.